Good morning. My name is Damian Pinero. Now, everyone here is probably aware of the hundreds of fables written by Aesop. However, have any of you heard the fable of the dove and the ant? A tale of two creatures of varying sizes and varying powers looking out for each other despite their gap in power. And even though my little friend wasn't as small as the ant was, they still had a monumental effect on who I am today. My friend changed who I was and how I saw myself as a person. They changed my entire perspective of life as a whole. And I can confidently state that no matter how small we are, how small that friend is, you could know them for only a day, they will have a lasting effect on your life. But you must be curious, what exactly is the story of the dove and the ant? To begin, to sort of explain, the story goes that a dove was flying over a river and noticed a small, almost insignificant sized ant barely clinging on to the shore. And taking pity upon this ant, they swooped down and rescued them from what would have been an untimely death. Uh, as retold by the Aesop's Fable website, it essentially states that the ant, being a female, it's funny how the ant is classified as a she, sort of almost in a way showing that she is weaker in a sense. Of course, this doesn't really apply nowadays, and definitely not to the friend that I have. Um, but nonetheless, it really does kind of almost show that the increased power gap between the dove and the ant, but also continues to boost up just how strong the ant really is, because the dove was being hunted. The dove was being attacked by a hunter, and the ant, seeing this familiar face, this friendly face who took pity on her in her worst times, she went out of her way and rescued them from certain death as well. Now, I keep bringing up the size difference because it clearly we all know the difference between a dove and an ant in terms of size, but you could also say that that represents just the difference in power. The dove is a larger bird than the ant. It can fly, it can spread its wings, it can soar into the heavens. But an ant is small. An ant is confined to sticking to the ground. Sure, it can climb, and sure, some ants have wings, but this one clearly did not. What's even more amazing is that the fable never describes how much time has passed between when they originally meet and when the dove is being hunted. So just picture this: the ant remembering. Imagine that this takes place over the course of years, and it's been years since the dove and the ant have met, and that this ant remembering this one act of kindness from years prior sees this dove remembering what they did for her, goes out of her way, and saves them from dying at the hands of a human hunter. So, with that being said, it does really show that the size of the person who commits the act of kindness, it doesn't matter. What matters is how large the effect it has on you. That even a small act of kindness can really stick with you after a long time. And what amazes me more is how relevant these fables are even today. Now, this happened a very long time ago, but during my years in elementary school, there were several kids who were known to be shy and easy to pick on. They were targets. And no matter what happened, no matter how many times they'd get picked on or bullied or abused, they would never complain. They'd never tattle or squeal. They never reported anything to the teacher because they just didn't want anything else to be done to them in retribution. And that's where my story kind of begins from. There was a girl in my grade. I'd known her for only about a year prior, but I never really spoke with her. She was artistic, and she when I got to know her a bit better, she really did have a sort of spunk to her. But it was this girl who really reserved, really quiet, didn't talk to anybody. And she was the perfect target for someone's campaign of harassment. They would continue to harass specifically her and targeted only her for years and years and years. But this was the moment where where I could no longer stand by and just watch her be harassed. So much like how the ant nearly drowned in the river, she was clinging to the shore. She didn't know what to do. She was sort of teetering off of sorrow, and I couldn't I couldn't just watch her continue to be harassed and have her be afraid of going to school every day. So I helped her out. I reported the bully to the teacher, and the teacher handled it as any teacher would. But that wasn't that wasn't it for our story. Me and my friend, to this day, I'm friends with this girl, and she has saved me numerous occasions whether it's homework, whether it's deadlines, whether it's just being organized. When you really get to know her, she is the ideal student, and she just needed a little push to get out of her shell and really show others who she was. But though my story is nowhere near as fantastical and mythical as the dove and the ant, it does bear a resemblance in its message, and that message being that no matter how small or how large we are as people, it doesn't matter. That's never what matters. What matters is how we treat others. And there's a very famous famous phrase that our actions speak louder than our words. That what we do as people defines us and shapes others. So from the so what I'm essentially trying to say, to sort of close off, from the graceful dove soaring above the skies to the smallest ant crawling along a log, it's never about the size of the good deed. The true size comes in how we positively affect another person. Thank you for listening. Are there any remaining questions?